Yo, what's going on? Phil with Second Best SEO, secondbestseo.com. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is why you keep wasting your time and money advertising your small business. Now, what I'm not saying is to not advertise, if that makes sense. What I'm trying to explain to you is why your advertising is ineffective and how you can turn that around and have your advertising and marketing work for you instead of being a drain on your resources and a drain on your time and a drain on your money. So I gotta be straight up too. I've been trying to record this for about an hour and cameras weren't working, audio wasn't working, all this stuff wasn't working. I finally kind of got things where I want it, and I decided that action, even though it's imperfect, is better than no action. So imperfect action is better than action. That's something that I try and live by. In the military, that's something that we learn too. Sometimes a decision is better than no decision. Even if it's not necessarily the best decision, just the fact that you're making a decision is better than no decision. So there's your free tip for the day. So let's jump right on in. Why are you wasting your time and money advertising your small business? Because you're doing it wrong. All right. So first off, we got to clarify what is marketing, what is advertising. Marketing is a little bit of a bigger picture. Advertising sort of falls within that as an aspect of marketing. So marketing, big picture, is identifying your customer, their needs, and how to meet them. So how do you meet your customer's needs and who is your customer? So you have to align who you are with who your customer is. That's kind of marketing. That's your positioning, your branding, your voice. All those things are kind of big picture marketing. Advertising is all about reaching your people where they are, when they are. And the important thing when it comes to advertising is you have to understand your customer's intent. Now, I'm going to get into that here in just a little bit. So you have two types of advertising. If you kind of recall, there used to be the old school advertising of like mailers and things like that. There's direct and indirect advertising. So this is sort of that concept in the digital age. So you have push advertising, which the way that kind of looks is when you are inserting your brand into a potential customer's attention stream. So boosting Facebook posts would be an idea. If you're doing postcard mailers, if you're sending out like letters, like I get letters from like hearing loss, stuff like that all the time. Might be an army thing, who knows, the 3M. But emails would be another idea of push advertising where you are pushing your message out to your customer. A text message campaign, paid Google ads, and Facebook ads. Those are all examples of you pushing your brand into the attention stream of your customer. Now there's also pull advertising, which is what I like to say you romance and you hold someone's attention. So you're just regular day-to-day social media posts. That would be like, that's what organic is, as someone kind of stumbles upon you. Your blog, where someone shows up on your webpage and then they interact with your brand, interact with your content. You're pulling them into an interaction as opposed to asserting yourself. A podcast is a great example of pull advertising. You're putting yourself out there. People are listening to that podcast. And at the end of it, they go check out your website. YouTube is another example. Exactly what you're doing here with my videos. You're looking for help, or you're looking for a solution to your marketing and advertising. So you jump on YouTube, how to market my small business, how to advertise my small business, etc. That's an example of me romancing you, and then hopefully you go to my website. So then there's traditional PR, which is like news articles, things like that. All right, so the biggest mistake, this is the number one mistake that I've seen small businesses make, is they fail to think through the intent for the platform. What do I mean by that? So when somebody's on Facebook, they're doing a completely different thing than when they're on Etsy versus Amazon versus a Google search versus a podcast or whatever that platform, whatever that medium is. People are on those platforms for different reasons. So if all you're doing is advertising on Facebook, that might be the problem right there, is maybe your product would be better suited for Google, like Google Local or Google Business Profile, which it's now called. So if someone is browsing the social media, browsing the internet, or they're window shopping, they're most likely going to be on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Amazon, and Etsy. That's just people scrolling through. They have 5 minutes to kill. They're in the bathroom, on the toilet. They're scrolling Facebook. So if somebody has a problem, like how to change the oil on their 2015 Toyota Camry. So if they don't know how to do that, or change an air filter, if they don't know how to garden, if they're trying to figure out how to fix their Iron Man Timex watch, they're going to hop on YouTube. Or blogs, like Google it, land on a blog, or a podcast for education and entertainment. So these platforms are where people go for how-to education and entertainment. If someone is ready to buy or knows exactly what they need to buy, or exactly what they need to solve their problem, i.e., it's the middle of winter, it's 0 degrees outside, and the pipe blows. So when it thaws out, they have water running underneath their house. So pipe burst, they're going to Google plumber near me. So nobody's going to hop on Pinterest to try and find a solution to a pipe that is leaking. So they're going to hop on Google. They're going to look at a Google Business Profile and order from there, or call up or message that business. So if someone locked their keys in the car, they're not going to jump on Facebook and scroll through locksmiths on their timeline. No, they're going to hop on Google. The businesses that pop up in the Google Business Profile for lock keys in my car are going to show up. If somebody's meeting someone for coffee, needs directions, they're going to Google coffee near me. So Yelp might be an option, or again, Google Business Profile. If someone's looking for a massage therapist in Republic, Missouri, maybe Facebook. In my experience, again, Google and Google Business Profile. Maybe Yelp, maybe Yellow Pages, but more than likely that would show up in a Google search. So that intent of the customer for that platform, what your goal is with your marketing and what your product and services need to coincide with the proper platform. If you can figure that out, you're already like 70% of the way to success. All right, so where do you start? You have to organize your marketing and advertising. And I look at it like a military campaign. So you have a campaign. Within that campaign, you have strategy, and then you fulfill that strategy through tactics. So a campaign, big picture of your small business marketing. What are your business objectives? Are you trying to grow a following, brand interaction, sell more widgets, get more website traffic, overtake a competitor, etc., etc.? So whatever those objectives are, if you're trying to, say, have some grow a following, then Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, those would be natural places that you'd want to grow a following. YouTube, things like that. If you're trying to sell more widgets, Google, your actual website, the Google Marketplace, Etsy, those types of things would make sense for the platforms that you'd want to be a part of. So you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to beat that to death. So your strategy has to fall within the campaign. So whatever your big picture campaign is, your small business objectives, your strategy for achieving that campaign needs to include the resources that you have. Now, it's super, super easy just to be like, oh, I don't have the money to do that. So money is only one aspect. Time is only one aspect. So what resources do you have? Tony Robbins talks about it's not the resources, it's your resourcefulness. So what do you have? How can you use those? How can you maximize those things? How can you blend different resources that you have to become more resourceful, to make that impact that you need to make. Here are some of the resources: time, money, credit. That's something that a lot of people don't think of, and I don't hear it talked about a whole lot. Your business credit, your personal balance sheet, your business balance sheet. Those things matter. You can leverage that stuff with the bank or investors and gives them more confidence in your business. Okay? What other resources do you have? Your people, not just your employees. Maybe you're a one-man show. Your tribe, your friends. What other business owners do you know? What partnerships can you create with local organizations, other small businesses, other local businesses? Partner with those people. Share. There's a coffee shop, and they were in a strip mall that was on the same strip mall with the Domino's Pizza. They talked with the owners of that Domino's Pizza and convinced them to do a little marketing ditty, like a little flyer about that coffee shop. And then the two businesses did some exchange back and forth. It was like no monetary value, but every single pizza box that went out, they slapped one of those coffee shop flyers on it. So that was a partnership that coffee shop creatively came up with on a way that they could send their brand out into that local community for free, essentially. There's no cost to them. Just a little bit of relationship capital is all that required, and then printing off some flyers. So you also have logistics, inventory, your legal team, accounting team would be another one. Your culture would be another one, and cash flow. So if you have cash flow, you can actually accomplish a whole lot. Sometimes a whole lot more than if you just have a chunk of cash. And once again, that kind of goes back to your credit. So here are some of your resources that you have. How can you be resourceful with those things in your marketing and advertising? Use your brain. Think creatively. All right. So tactics. Now, tactics is actually where most people start. The tactics are like, how do you advance, or how do you attack for maximum impact? How do you take that hill? How do you achieve that goal that you are shooting for? Those are the tactics. And when you're looking on YouTube for things like how to advertise on Facebook, how to make a bigger impact in social media posts, things like that, those are tactics. So you have to understand your tactics within that picture of your objective and your strategy. So examples of tactics are paid ads. You can actually mail flyers. On-page SEO. Now that is the search engine optimization of your actual website or Google Business Profile. You can build backlinks, which again is a SEO strategy. You can do niche down YouTube videos, for instance, that can capture people specifically looking for a solution to that video. Press releases, blog content, social media push, like a boosted Facebook post. So this is where most people start, but without that context, that commander's intent of what we call it in the military, the tactics do nothing to move the needle. So campaign, strategy, and tactics, they all must support each other. What do I mean by that? The tactics are important because if your tactics suck, you'll burn all your resources and the entire campaign will collapse. For example, your keywords are too general. That's your research side of it. Like you're not specific enough, you're not niche down enough. If those keywords are too broad and the language that you're using is too broad, then it's just going to eat a hole in your budget and you'll have very little results. Maybe your sales copy isn't compelling. Sales copy is the actual written word on like a sales piece. So if that's not compelling, people aren't going to convert. They're not going to give you their email. They're not going to buy your product. maybe you're not actually solving a problem. We see that a lot. As entrepreneurs, we get frustrated. We see this as a problem, but it's only a problem to us. It's not a problem to the actual market. So the tactics are important, because if your tactics are off, then you're just going to spin your wheels. You're going to burn up all your capital. You're going to use up all your resources and make no headway. So if your tactics are solid, but your resources can't support it, you're also going to fail. So for instance, this happened to a buddy of mine. He was on a national media, like little ditty. A ton of people went to his website and his website crashed. So zero conversions, if you will. So a lot of media exposure, great brand exposure, but the tactics of having the solid website, the solid server infrastructure, and all that IT stuff, it didn't support it. Throughput bottleneck is another example of resources failing. Throughput bottleneck would be like if you're at an assembly line and then there's, say, 3 sections to this assembly line. That middle section can't keep up with your input, then your output is going to suffer. So like it just like an hourglass. All right, not enough manpower. Say people are calling your business, but you only have one person, you, answering the phone call. And you actually need a team of salesmen or a team of customer support people to answer questions. Then that's a bad deal, bad juju. So you can run out of cash flow, or you can have bad customer support. I've actually seen that bad customer support before too, where people make a lot of sales and then the fulfillment is not able to happen, or the customer support cannot adequately answer the questions because they weren't trained well enough. And then the brand on the back end of that campaign actually suffers. So if your strategy and tactics are synchronized, but you don't have a clear desired business result, then your entire campaign is going to be ineffective. Here's what I mean by that. No retargeting. Retargeting is like if somebody puts something in a shopping cart and then they close out of the browser, and then say a day or two later an email shows up. It's like, hey, we saw that you added this to your cart, but you didn't complete the order. Did you want to complete that order now? Click here to go back to your cart. That's that retargeting idea. No email capture. Say all these people show up to your website. They browse your website. They love your brand. Maybe they're not quite ready to buy. One thing they can do, hopefully, is enter their email address, and then you can follow up with them, retarget them down the road. But if you don't have that email capture set up in your campaign, then you're going to lose out on those customers. Maybe you're actually losing money per sale. Sometimes that can be intentional as like a loss leader, but maybe your shipping costs are too high. So you get a flood of orders at $20 and then your product costs $15 and your shipping costs $2. It's $22 cost. So then every widget that you're selling, pushing out the door, you're losing $2 on. Or, I hate this one, Groupon tribes. So thinking Groupon is your tribe's people. People on Groupon, they're on Groupon because they want a deal. They're not on Groupon because they are loyal to your business. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, especially coffee shops, but small businesses in general, just try and get people in the door. Groupon, that price tactic, is such an easy, compelling route to go. But if somebody's only showing up to your business because they want a discount, then they're not going to be loyal to you. You're never going to see them again. You're losing money right here, lose money per sale on a customer that is never going to come back. And usually Groupon customers, in my experience, have been the worst type of customers dealing with on the customer service side. So if your strategy and tactics are synchronized, but you don't have a clear desired business result, then the entire campaign is ineffective. That's what that means. So how do you make your small business advertising more successful? That's what we're here to learn. Get clear on why you do what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for, and who are you in the first place. So Start with why. That might be backwards because I have my screen mirrored. But Simon Sinek wrote an amazing book. I keep it on my bookshelf called Start with Why. And he talks about why you do what you do is the fundamental core thing. Everything else comes from that. So there's a great TED Talk that he has out there, but I'll put a link in the show notes below for that book on Amazon. I highly recommend it. So get clear on why you do what you do. Figure out where your people are. That goes back to, like, say, if you're trying to advertise and market to high schoolers, then TikTok would make sense. Facebook wouldn't make sense. But if you're marketing to someone 40s and up with a family, baby boomer, something like that, Facebook definitely makes sense. If you're selling a solution to a problem and you're targeting like a 20, 30-year-old demographic, YouTube would make a lot of sense for something like that. So figure out where your people are and how they're using that platform, and then intersect those two things. What is their problem in the first place? So for one, if you've been in business for any length of time, what questions are being asked? Like, how do I log on to, your website, something, your mastermind group? How do I log into that? How do I use your product? What benefits are in it for me? Like, if I do X with your product, then what is the Y that happens? So what questions are they asking you? Like, how do you use this thing? Where are you located? Stuff like that. So figure out what their problem is. You can do that by just paying attention to the questions they're asking you, or suggestions they're making on ways to improve what you're doing. Or you can do it through keyword research. Ubersuggest is a tool that I really enjoy using for keyword research. So that basically Ubersuggest, SEMrush, Ahrefs, these tools will pull data from Google on the actual legit search questions that people are putting in the Google search bar or speaking into their phone. So that keyword research is legit, like for real phrases that people are asking for. So that's how you figure out what the problem is. Interact with your customers in a way that is not weird. Don't be a weirdo. And then interact with them on the islands that they are on, in the language that they speak. And I'll also add in the language of that platform as well. You're going to speak on Facebook differently than you're going to speak on Instagram, because Instagram is very video and image based. Facebook is more text based. YouTube is going to be more conversational, like what I'm doing here. Maybe a little more polished than this video, hopefully. So talk to them in the language that they speak, on the platform that they're interacting with, on the island that your customer is on, in a way that's not weird. And then add value to their lives by providing quality content. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, awesome. That was the whole point. Hopefully this helps you out in your small business journey. So add value to their lives by providing quality content, products and services that solve their problems and answer their questions. So that is how you make your small business advertising more successful. Think through the entire process. Campaign, the operation, and then the tactics, or campaign strategy tactics. So think through that stuff, think through the platform. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this next one, which is going to be awesome. I'll have a link right here for you. Take care, guys.